Hey guys, today I want to talk about doing crankcase pressure testing. We're doing this on an E70 X5. We're seeing a lot of issues with BMWs with the crankcase venting actually mixing with the engine, causing a lot of different codes to come up and drivability issues. We're going to show you two different ways today of doing this. So I'm going to walk you over here. We're going to show you, we have it set up on the car already. We're using an AGA tool adapter. This is going to go right into the fill of the engine, mix in with the vacuum hose connecting the tool. Both ways are going to be set up very similar. This is a way more cost-effective way. This is only around a $60 tool. We'll be able to link this into the description for you guys to be able to get it. So I'm going to start the car. Whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure the car's at a warmer idle. You don't want a cold start idle unless you're checking for crankcase testing. But when you're doing this, if the idle's a little bit warmer, the car engine's a little warmer, and the idle's a little bit more steady, you're going to get more accurate results. So on here, you're going to see that right now we're at like 50, and this car is actually bad. Yesterday we were around 38, and we're testing this in M-bar because that's what we use in BMWs. The fluctuation is going all over the place. When you're looking this up on your car that you're doing it on, you have to make sure you're looking up what specs they're going by and pay attention whether it's PSI or M-bar. So as we're watching this, you can see this is bouncing all over the place, and as we let it run a little longer, you're going to see that it gets really erratic. It'll probably drop down into the 40s, maybe even to the 30s. On this car, we do have an 8 M-bar tolerance, but as you can see, we're dropping way more than 8. When we were doing this test the other day, we were down to 38, like I said. So we're going to let it run for a minute. You could even hear the idling a little bit weird on this before we switch over to the PicoScope. So the other test we're going to do, we're going to use a pressure transducer in the PicoScope. As you can see, it's at 45 right now. With the PicoScope, we're going to use that pressure transducer, and I'm going to show you how you can find out exactly how to set it up correctly with the guided tools. So we're going to put this down. We'll let it run for a minute. I'm going to set up the pressure transducer. So right on the main home screen, you can actually go down to pressure transducers on the guided test. Click pressure transducer, and you'll see on the first one, it's crankcase pressure testing. We're going to choose running because that's what we're doing. We're going to click guide and setting files, so we can just show you that it'll show you how to do the test. As far as where to hook up your tool and what setting to set that tool on. This is going to control what the pressure it's reading. They're doing this on the dipstick, but you can do whatever tools you have accessible to set up on your car you're working on. This is a known good waveform. It's going to show you that waveform it's going to go up and down, and then you can average out what you're working with. So I'm going to switch over. Another thing to notice, we know what the pressure is. I have our own document made up here, but you have to use like all data or Mitchell or whatever you're using for your information to find out what your crankcase pressure should be. On this car, this is an N55. We're looking at 50 M-bar plus or minus 8. So anything in that range, we're okay. So we're going to set up the machine. Again, we're going to set it up to setting 3 first and go from there. So this will be that waveform that we should be looking at. Not all cars are going to be the same, but that's where we should be at. So on the machine, we're going to set it up to 3, like the guided test told us to. I'm just going to switch this vacuum line quick. We'll let the idle steady out, and then we're able to do the test. So I'm going to start this now. It's just loading. So we can see we don't have a waveform like we were talking about originally. That's a known good one. We have pretty much a steady line that's going on here. So we're going to bring down our cursors, and we're going to set it up to the range. So we're at 50. We're going to go to 40. Just call it 45 and 58, just so we have an idea of where it should be at. And we're watching this bounce all around, nothing steady here. the crankcase pressure usually will be steady, and you're gonna see now we're getting down pretty low. And we'll pause this once we get a good test going on it. It's already running, but you can see it's bouncing like crazy. And we're going out of range, back in range. We'll give it a minute. And this is a quick, easy test for you guys to do. This will just verify your crankcase pressure. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the valve cover. It is a very common thing to cause that on these cars. That's pretty much almost all the crankcase venting. But we're gonna go ahead and pause this right now. We'll go back to that page we were just at. So right where that line is, we're at 44. We saw that on the Manometer. We went down to 44. We should be at 50. There is a little bit of tolerance where it's gonna be plus or minus 8. You're gonna say that looks good, but it's not. It's jumping around erratically. We'll play it again, and it's a steady line. We don't have that good waveform that we were talking about before, which I'll pull it up again. This looks a lot different than what we were working with. Again, this test, the actual nanometer is going to be way more affordable for you to be able to do this test, that every tech can be able to afford and get this tool to do this. It's a quick test, and that's really it. If you guys like the video, like, subscribe, share it, let us know your feedback, and if you guys need anything in specific, ask us and we'll see if we can make that happen. Thanks, guys.